Conclusion. My experience in posting my students, I wish my teacher knew notes, taught me a lot about the power of our classrooms hold. First, it taught me the power of sharing. For years, the students in my classroom told me exactly what I needed to know, but I kept the lesson to myself. Once I shared the lesson, I became aware of just how far one simple question could travel. Right now, there are so many lessons, so many ideas, and insights inside our classrooms, just waiting to be shared with the larger educational community. I've also learned the power of the shared experience. So much of learning is universal. Teachers the world over have shared with me their own experiences with I wish my teacher knew notes. In countless languages, students have bravely shared their truth with the caring adults who teach them each day. All teachers want to connect with students. All students want to be heard. In every corner of the globe, this is the intersection where relationships are formed. When we stop seeing students as problems to be solved, we can begin to see the children we teach as valuable partners in problem solving. That's when the relationships we build in the classroom transform into partnerships. Students can tell us what is important, what is necessary, and what we need to know about their lives to effectively educate and engage them. As teachers, we need to remember that the relationships we form hold so much influence with our students. Chaim G. Genau, teacher and social psychologist, realized that, as he stated in his classic book from 1975, Teacher and Child. I've come to the frightening conclusion that I am the decisive element. It is my personal approach that creates the climate. It is my daily mood that makes the weather. I possess tremendous power to make life miserable or joyous. I can be a tool of torture or an instrument of inspiration. I can humiliate or humor, hurt or heal. In all situations, it is my response that decides whether a crisis is escalated or de-escalated, or a person is humanized or dehumanized. If we treat people as they are, we make them worse. If we treat people as they ought to be, we help them become what they are capable of becoming. The Stockdale Paradox. Admiral James Stockdale, a true American hero, was captured and tortured during the Vietnam War. Despite all odds, he survived the horrific ordeal, reunited with his family, and was awarded the Medal of Honor. While Stockdale's plight is much different in nature, his triumph can still teach educators a powerful lesson about the mindset required to prevail, even in the most difficult of situations. Stockdale recounted his experience to business consultant Jim Collins, who then described it in his book, Good to Great. The Admiral credited his ultimate success to his unwavering belief that in the end, he would make it through. I never lost faith in the end of a story. I never doubted not only that I would get out, but also that I would prevail in the end and turn the experience into the defining event of my life, which, in retrospect, I would not trade. While Stockdale made it clear that his commitment to a positive resolution was essential, he's quick to point out that he never lost sight of the severity of his situation, saying, "You must never confuse faith that you will prevail in the end, which you cannot afford to lose, with the discipline to confront to the most brutal facts of your reality." Collins calls this duality the Stockdale Paradox. He describes it in his book as the ability to retain faith that you will prevail in the end, regardless of the difficulties, and at the same time confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they might be. Our nation's schools face a brutal reality. More than half of the children in our nation's schools are living in poverty. Our schools are more segregated by race and socioeconomic status than they were before the Civil Rights Movement. Schools that serve a disproportionate share of students living in poverty must stretch already thin resources to serve the disproportionate share of students with disabilities and students of color. This means that our students who need the most often get the least. Most students in our schools than ever before are asked with learning academic skills while simultaneously learning to understand English. Despite having the largest economy in the history of the world, America has not been able to build a public education system that, as a whole, can compete with the rest of the developed world. It is essential to have a realistic assessment of the failures of our public education system. As educators, we cannot shy away from this. We cannot sugarcoat the realities of our students and our schools face. We must be critically aware of the challenges our students face, as well as the policies that have created and contributed to those challenges. In doing this, we can become powerful members of the educational community and strong advocates for our students. As the Stockdale paradox warns, it is ineffective to exclusively focus time and energy on the fact that our society and our schools suffer from so much injustice. There is more to education than just constraints. As teachers, we have a real ability to make a positive impact in our classrooms. The relationships we create not only support students during trying times, but also can motivate them to achieve great things and make an impact on the world. Our students have so many strengths we can build on, even in consideration of the poverty and trauma so many of them face. We can form classroom environments that develop strong character and empathy. The ideas our students explore in our classrooms today will become the basis for their contributions to our society tomorrow. Both these things are true. Our American education system has historically and is currently failing many students, and we can prevail in the end to create schools worthy of the incredible students who fill their classrooms. We must never lose faith in the goal that every classroom, regardless of the challenges we face, can become a powerful community of learners. When we accomplish this goal, it will be the defining achievement of our generation. Each time we give a student a voice, we work toward a better reality. Each time we comfort a student in the midst of pain, each time we encourage a student to struggle through difficult work, each time we give students an opportunity to discover their passions, we nurture our faith that we can still meet the future goals of education. Our schools can produce resilient, creative, and passionate learners who will improve our world. I have a realistic assessment of the challenges and barriers our schools and our students face, yet I continue to have the unwavering belief that we as teachers, as a community, and as a country can give every student the excellent education that they deserve. I do not suffer from believing the fallacy that I cannot make a difference. I make mistakes, I get it wrong sometimes, but I am committed to reflecting and growing each day, and I expect the same from the children whom I'm entrusted to teach. My students have a real ability to impact the world. That, in the end, is what I make sure my students know. Love you all. Thank you.